Now, this is not a laptop. It's like a screen that will have monitors and it will have speakers that will be seeing what is happening in the room.
There were times where if you talked to yourself, you were termed as a mad person. But now you're going to be interacting with the speaks alone. You just walk and you're just talking alone. So it is going to be a normal
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Greetings and welcome to the Marketing Matters podcast. Now, the past week we had an event-packed tech space, and today we're just going to get right into it. But in case you don't know us, my name is Steven Atema, and my co-host.
Vicky,
Welcome. This is the Marketing Matters podcast. For those of you who follow the tech scene, you know that different companies, international companies, have different events. Apple has the WWDC, what you call the Worldwide Developers Conference. Google has the Google I/O. Microsoft has Microsoft Build. And well, Kenya, we have the ASK show. If you don't get it, forget about it. Another event that we had this week was something called the Google I/O. Now, just a fun fact, I/O in tech space means input output. So Google I/O means it's how Google is shaping how users will be interacting with technology. So there was an array of launches. You can share with us the most profound announcement that you had in that session.
I was just listening to that news and I'm like, the future for AI, like when you go to social media and you go to different platforms and you get to hear this is how you can do this. Go to Play Store and download this AI. This is how you can do this. And you have so many AI tools that are available. And all of them, they have either a trial version or you have to pay. You have to get some cash to pay before you can access them. And I was just looking at this announcement, and it's like it was capturing most of those tools that you require or you need to be able to grow your business or to just keep yourself going. So I was just feeling like these big companies, as we know them, they always take this opportunity and implement what they see it's in the market, and then for you to just retain their customers. So I really love that about them. So
Even as you think about what to start, I agree with you because as I was looking at even conversations as Google was launching different solutions, you could just
yeah,
hear people saying, "This AI, sorry, this is a startup. This was another startup. This was another startup."
yeah,
So
yeah,
basically, Google's event obliterated almost 10 startups,
true, true.
because they were building on what Google was now offering as part of their Gemini Pro solution.
Yeah. One of the ones that I found them so simple and direct was the Google Meet, a translation tool that when you have a meeting with someone and you are of different languages, you can have the tool installed and then the AI will be able to translate on the other side. And I was just trying to think, wow, there are these schools or colleges that you had to go to learn a certain language for you to visit a certain country because you're going to to have a language barrier, but
Mhm.
now right now it's going to be easy in a way that if you hold interviews, if you hold meetings, you can still be able to communicate without necessarily learning the language because you have AI that will do that for you. So that one I really loved because me now learning a language, it's not a strength.
Yeah, that's true. And when you're talking about the Google Meets solution, when you are even speaking, I was just thinking, sometimes when you're learning a new skill, you usually go to YouTube to get some understanding. And sometimes you find a very good video, but it is in Indian.
Yeah, yeah,
So you want to watch it, but this guy is speaking in Indian, and he has the solution for you.
yeah.
So I foresee that when it works well in Google Meets, it will also be deployed to YouTube Premium or other YouTube solutions, and that translation solution will do a lot of wonders. Right now,
But
the caption solution is usually very fidgety. It does not capture the language as it should be, but I
but I'm
suspect with
trying.
the AI, they're going to
Uh,
improve it.
I'm trying to remember, Steve, when we were young, there were these soap operas that would have in a different language, and we had
There's a
the language.
voiceover.
Yeah, I don't know. Or they were doing it manually. Maybe I think
They
they
were
were
doing
doing it.
yeah, they were getting translators who do voiceovers.
Okay, right now it's going to be
It's
automated.
going to be real time. In fact, I remember we even talked about this, Vicky, when you were talking about how different applications of AI, and one of the companies we narrowed down, we said Netflix. Netflix
Mm,
these days has a lot of international content. They do Spanish, they do even Kenyan content, they do French, German content, and most of us who love entertainment, is favorite shows that Netflix has is the Money Heist, which is originally
yeah,
in Spanish. Now
Spanish.
you want to hear Nairobi's voice as it is, but because of the
Yeah,
voiceover, that's not Nairobi's voice.
yeah.
So with AI, it will be Nairobi's voice or Professor's voice, but now in your language. So
Mm,
that is going to be very transformative, even for your
yeah,
experience, entertainment experience. And now in Google Meets, like you've said, if you're a professor or a school that is offering uh a course, maybe German, and you've been requiring guys to do German language, maybe out of cultural requirements they might still insist, but in terms of now me learning understanding new knowledge or getting information, or even having meetings with international clients.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you're only dealing with locals, sometimes you might be wondering, what's so shattering about that information. But if you're working with international clients, and we said you have to be global, you'll now be dealing with Chinese, you'll be dealing with Spanish people who are giving you gigs, and this is a very clear application. You are offering video editing services or digital marketing services like we do, and we get a client from Germany or a client from France who does not know English, but they know we offer this solution. So when you're having a meeting with them, you not need to hire a translator, neither will you need to get another to learn that language to interact with multiple people.
yeah.
So that's actually a very good tool. In close to that, there was also the announcement of a video conferencing and communication platform called Google Beam, and this was revolutionary because for if you're working in an office setup, that most of the times, for the people who have board members who are frequently traveling or have international settings, or have international, live in international locations. Most of the time, it's very hard to get those board members to attend your board meetings. And what has been happening is you'll find that a company buys an we call a video conferencing facility or solution, which has cameras that track users. It has that of course internet capabilities, and you have a video conferencing solution that you plug now something like Google Meets or Teams or whatever. Now Google has come up with their own video conferencing solution, which will be partnering with HP. So very soon, in fact, they are very ambitious, and they say later in the year they will start shipping out those gadgets. Now this is not a laptop; it's like a screen that will have monitors, and it will have speakers that will be seeing what is happening in the room, such that if you have the Google Beam, if a board member is speaking from UK and they're using Google Beam on their end, and you're also using Google Beam on your end, it will be like watching a movie. That their video, their image will be rendered in 3D in your office. So it will be
3D.
almost as if that board member is seated in your meeting room. And that what why this is important is because a lot of people have what we call meeting fatigue, because you look at the screen and you're interacting with so many people. If you're a director of a big firm, let's say you're a director of a company like KCB or Safaricom, your weeks are run by meetings both locally and international. It also involves you doing a lot of travel, because some meetings have to be physical. But if you could be able to be there physically without being there physically, it's like a hologram of yourself, then you will be able to sit through multiple meetings in a day. Remember, productivity is not just for the common worker who is the file and rank. It is also for the senior management. So if
Yeah.
you're a CEO of a company that is a multinational, you'll be able to sit into meetings of the companies that you oversee, even in the regional space. And because they will be seeing almost a 3D version of you, they'll be able to it will be almost as if you're in that setting, and
Yeah.
it's something that is quite fascinating. Not to say that this so so some people are confusing this will be a replacement of Zoom or a replacement of Teams. What will happen is maybe Google will prefer you use Google Meets, but this is a hardware solution, so it will work with any version. However, it will be superior than all the other versions, because they're saying I think it will have like six videos and several speakers, so that it is when I'm speaking, the way you see me on the screen, you'll if you're in a boardroom, you'll almost see me sitting in one of, if I'm a chair, you'll see
Yeah,
me sitting in the chairs
yeah.
meeting, and it will be quite fascinating.
Merge that with one of the tools that I also liked, the Android. I think it's Android XR, the one
Mm,
that talks about the virtual glasses. And I think the AR glasses. The AR glasses reminds me of virtual reality of Meta. I remember
mhm.
there was a time we talked about virtual reality of Meta where they also introduced the glasses. And I think this is just a build up from what they have, because when you look at even the way the glasses have been designed, they are almost similar. It's just that this one, they're saying they're partnered with Samsung, but it's almost just similar. So the glasses allows you to be able to interact with other people with your phone or your laptop without necessarily having your phone or your laptop near you. So you just have a place on this on the glasses where you press, and then you're able to research. You can ask questions. It can, and again, the I realize the research right now is advanced, where you can communicate and even request the AI to, now you're working with an agent. Remember, you're working with an agent within the glasses. So you can request the agent to write an email or request a quote or talk to the shop before you're able to just purchase. Your work is to just be to go and pick. Now, even as they introduced that, why I'm talking about this as one of the top tools that I've loved is because they did not only go to the uh, AR glasses, they also decided to build the glasses that are similar to a normal glass, as in normal spectacles. Like they also realized that that can also become too heavy, too costly. So they have built real glasses, normal glasses, like similar to normal glasses, but they're still able to operate the way your machine would operate. So that one, I think, really made it interesting, because the other one are looking so as if you're going to a movie. But the other normal glass, it's like you're just normal. You're working like any other person, but you have the glasses that are operating like a computer. So that one really was interesting to me. We're
Mm.
just waiting to see how far we can go. We started with I think there was an argument sometime back, would the glasses replace the laptops, and the response was we had desktops that still exist, but now we have the laptops. Laptops still exist, but we now have phones. Phones will still exist, but we'll still have the glasses. So you now go with the different preferences. Although it depends with how people adapt to it, it might make one more famous than the other.
Yeah, and that's true. And in the Android XR launch, um, what they said in their partnership with Samsung is these different items will have different use cases. Now, like the VR headset, the one that you're talking about that is bulky, they're looking at it when you want to have an immersive experience, when maybe you're watching a movie and you want to almost feel like you're in that scene. So, and they're also going to be developing apps and games and whatever for that, so there'll still be a use case for that, though the AI glasses, their solution to the evolution of technology from the phone now to having AI with you on the go every time. And in fact, it's not even, you'll not even be touching the glasses, you'll be communicating with it in natural language. And I remember even in one of the demos that they did, showing how that lady, was asking for a restaurant, tells her the opening hours, gives her the location, and the location is mapped on the screen. So it's going to be quite something, especially when they launched it. And the lovely thing is, they also launched. They, like you said, they were working with glass companies. There's this company called Wabipaka. I've been following it for quite a while, and what I loved about Wabipaka was is that it was a startup in the glasses scene, and why people loved it, despite it being a very small company, smaller than Emporio or what's the other company, Ray Bans and whatnot, was that they were most of their selling proposition was that I think they said their glasses were either handcrafted or they had some fun element of it, so that maybe these glasses are a bit too conservative for some people. So Wabipaka have a way of how they design their glasses. They have some glasses that are wooden frames. They have others that are, I think, a mixture of metal and some, I think, some interesting plastics. They are also big on the sustainability. Google is also strategic even in the partnerships, because if they were to partner with maybe a company like Ray-Ban already Ray-Ban has a partnership with Meta. So I think they also see some sort of conflict. And then because they're a big firm, they can exert more influence in the design of the glasses with a small company like Wabi Parker. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually very excited, and I remember joking sometime when I started wearing glasses that, hey, if I am wearing glasses, then the spectacles market is getting big because I was one of the people who had sworn never to wear glasses.
So
And
I don't know. For you, you'll have to put on two.
no, no, no. What will happen is the developers or those companies will work with these also. What are they called? These opticians and these prescription glass companies. When we go for glasses, usually what they give you the prescription glasses, and then they also add some things. They say UV light. They add, I think, one that is shielding you from the sunshine, and then I think there are several add-ons that they do. So what will be happening is when you're prescribing, they'll just add AI capabilities on that glass, and it will probably make it. So what will happen is your insurance company will be paying prescription glasses, but if you want AI capabilities, you'll now be paying extra with your
Yeah.
out of pocket. So yeah, but it'll still come.
On a lighter note, also, it is going to be normal to be mad. There were times where if you talked to yourself, you were termed as a mad person. But now, because
Uh,
you're going to be interacting with the micro, you're going to be interacting with the specs alone. You just walk and you're just talking alone. So it is going to be a normal
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Actually, that's true. I have some issues about that because I feel like also the world will get more and more secluded, where we
Yeah,
shall be together, but we
antisocial.
shall be together, alone together, which I don't know
Yeah.
how if that's good for humanity.
Yeah, because you feel like you can get every answer from your
From
gadgets,
your
and
gadgets,
then
yes.
yeah, and then now it's like you don't need anyone. Like you
Imagine
feel
even
like
going out on a date with somebody, and then even your conversation is not real because you are asking AI to make you appear more charming or to make
yeah,
you know their likes. So you can even do a research on somebody while you're watching them. You're like, hey,
yeah,
tell me about Vicky. What does Vicky? So
and
you
then
become the version Vicky wants, but you're not really what Vicky needs.
when you've got right now, people will go for dates or meetings, and then after a few moments, you'll find them on the phone. So you can
Mm.
imagine someone is looking at you, but he's
But they're
not
not.
there.
They're not.
That's
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
funny.
It will be quite an interesting experience.
uh,
In fact, I don't know how the social interactions will be, even with kids, how they can the parent can be scolding them, but then they are watching something on the screen. However, of course, it will be it will be possible to see that they are
Interesting.
watching something because it will be
Yeah,
hard to hide a screen. But it will be the interactions for people will be very artificial, and it will be
yeah,
very hard to find meaningful relationships. No,
true.
and that's why I think maybe even these self-driving cars are coming because people will be so easily distracted. Yeah, like you will always be
Will
on your
it
screen.
bring laziness? Like
People are
everything is.
lazy. I don't know if you've noticed this, but majority of the world is lazy. Average is lazy. So
I don't know.
most people are lazy. And that's why these solutions work very well. Because they cater to your innate desire to not have to work. About the morality of the future and whether it's good for the future or bad. Of course, these tech companies will tell you how you'll be more productive, you'll have more knowledge, but they're just marketers. They are
Yeah,
selling their product. It remains to be
yeah,
seen. But
yeah,
I dare say, if you are a person, Gen Z or Gen Alpha, you will be surprised that there is just the way the human being works, where as this technology continues to evolve and people get more and more artificial, the people who are now considered to be more real, more personal, less subjective to following the trend will also be the people who are considered very valuable because they will have what we call agency, um, which is something very important. And Vicky, we forgot our tradition, maybe because of the stories was so hot to share what we were learning this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is true. And but anyway, it will be a
I'm
net
even just
positive.
trying to imagine, like it's just making me think a lot. I'm just trying to
Mm,
imagine, like the way you have phones, we have different prices because of the different sizes. So, like, we, the specs.
capabilities. In
Okay, it's
fact,
just
for
interesting.
specs, what will happen is, you know, people always play the status game. So a guy, maybe a CEO, you see even now specs. This specs is not the same as the specs for the Safaricom guy, and the Safaricom CEO. It's not also the same spec for somebody maybe earning less than me, and it's also not the same spec for probably a CEO of an international company. There is always the status game, and what will happen is this the Ray Bans, the Carreras, the I forget all the other names, all the other brands. What will happen is, it will be these companies will strive to have partnerships with the company that is perceived to have the most status appeal. So if you are Ray-Bans, maybe you see that the AI is developing in Google faster than it is in Meta, you might have to sever your relationship to enter into a partnership with Ray-Ban, with Google. And I suspect that because of how this thing will evolve, what you'll see is there might be some exclusivity where if I am Google, I say if I'm working with Wabipaka cannot work with Meta, because that part of the appeal is how I look when I wear these glasses, because they understand the customer. Because I might have the best AI, but I look like a geek when I wear your glasses, so it affects
Yeah,
it affects the marketing of that product. So I suspect there'll be some exclusive relationship. But I can confirm to you that even in that space, there will be $100 glasses, there will be $1,000 glasses,
yeah.
and there will be $50 glasses.
Okay,
Status,
this is the
and it
last
will
thing
be
I'm
seen.
thinking about.
It will be seen because what you'll notice is in the glasses space, what we know is a frameless glass is a symbol of status. No matter
Yeah,
how it looks, just observe. Look at the Safaricom CEO. Look at most of the CEOs in Kenya. In abroad, they don't really mind about those things. But look at the CEOs in Kenya and the ministers who wear glasses. They are frameless. So that is like a
ah,
status symbol.
yeah.
So it's
Now,
it's it's
I'm also
something.
thinking the last thing that now you are going you're using your specs, and
Mm.
then it shuts down. You have to charge. I don't know, I'm overthinking.
You will
Or
be
you
even
keep
in
getting
presentations. Mm.
battery
It will
low.
be like how we do
You keep
Bluetooth.
getting battery low, battery low. Oh gosh.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
we'll manage. And again, that again will be a feature, because companies will now continue selling. The one that has the longest hours, the one that has the most clear vision, the one that is less intrusive, the one that is also can hide that you are using AI. So there will also be some small tweaking to make
yeah,
that
there's a
product.
lot of
Um,
work there.
a lot of work and in fact, I suspect that even those companies that were struggling, the eye companies, or the frame manufacturers, I think they're like, is another shot in the arm for their survival,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the companies were getting more and more, a lot of companies were entering into this. And in fact, I think while they will still enjoy it, I think then there will still be new entrepreneurs coming into this space, because there is the frame and then there is the glasses. So I was even looking at it as an investor, and I was thinking, who is manufacturing these glasses? Because the frames, you can be Ray-Bans, but you might find
yeah,
the glasses are being done in their
yeah,
partnership with Samsung. So
yeah,
if you're an investor in Samsung, the future is very bullish,
yeah.
because if
True.
these things ship the way they are supposed to ship, those AI glasses and VR, and I tell you, kids will be born, and by the time they are 3 years, they'll be wearing glasses.
Yeah, yeah.
It will be a very different world. In fact, the whole world will. That's what I'm saying. And sorry,
Same.
this thing has taken a different trajectory,
It
but
will
it
be
is
so
quite
normal.
interesting because the whole world will be. So the people who don't wear
Then we're
glasses
putting on
will be seen
masks.
as the contrarian people. They'll be like,
Yeah,
"Hey, when you still use your phone? Who still uses phone?" It will be a very interesting,
it's
and
interesting.
also opticians will have, the science doesn't change, the more you wear glasses with and the more you interact with screens, the worse your eyes get. So
Yeah.
also somebody who is thinking of a career, you could also be thinking of getting your child into the space of the
But
optician
now,
space.
okay, where we are in these developing countries, where we
Mm,
have security concerns, so someone will just be looking at your glasses and they're just saying, "This one, this is
mm.
where I can become rich," because it's so open.
So this stealing.
Yeah, I can identify. Yeah, I can identify. This is
More
a
wealthy
potential
people.
customer. Yeah, because
Yes,
you
yes,
see now
yes.
with the phone you can hide. This one, yeah, this is a
True,
potential
true.
customer.
However, like you said earlier, that the problem with the earlier VR glasses was the cost and the bulkiness. I suspect
Yeah.
even the barrier to entry for these glasses will also be quite high, so that it will, like I said, it will be a status symbol. Very few people will be able to be actually doing the glasses on a daily, and unfortunately this becomes a problem for third world, but in most developed countries where everybody uses the iPhone, people work with MacBooks, this is rarely something people even care about stealing or acquiring. But that's something also to be to look into. But yeah, the future will be glasses, and I don't know how that the industry in laptops and in phones will look like, as things go, because I suspect also is if I'm a phone developer, I will also, you know how the virtual reality glasses work, because it creates some form of 3D, then it will also mean the phone cannot stay the way it is, because it will lose its appeal. So a phone will also now have to go more than just offering a screen. It might also now be a 3D screen, or a small projector, so that if I'm watching a video on YouTube when I'm at home, I can actually watch it. It's like it's projected in a bigger screen than the actual screen. So I think also they will also face their own evolution, and maybe we may be talking about that as we talk about the AI news. But even as we roll down the announcements by Google, there was something that is almost tied into this VR situation, and it's on the video editing and creative design, and this is largely our bread and butter here at Asha Group. And they announced three announcements, specifically for that. They announced something they call Canvas, which was that, if you are, again, remember, these are productivity solutions. So if you are a company or a marketer, and maybe you have a presentation for your client, maybe you have prepared the points, you've gone to AI, it has helped you do the market research, it has helped you come up with a marketing campaign, it has helped you come up with the KPIs, and it has even helped you come up with potential copy. Copy, for those who don't understand, is the words that are placed in the creative, or that will be used in the video. So, and you don't have time, maybe you are working with 10 clients, and you need to present each of these clients, you need to do a different presentation per day. Initially, what you do, you'd have to go to the PowerPoint presentation, come start thinking about the how this vision could be. Now, what Canva will allow you to do currently is that you will be able to upload a document. It can be a PDF, it can be a Word document, and that tool will be able to create for you visualizations. Again, Vicky, we said that several startups are going to be disrupted, and I see several startups that we currently use to create visualizations that are going to be disrupted by this technology. So, what it will be able to create visuals, you'll also be able to create presentations, full presentations from end to end. Canva, I hope, I don't know if they are partnering with Canva, because why did they call it Canvas? But you'll be able to create presentation. You'll even be able to develop a website, such that you will be able to show to the customer how that product will look like, if it is laid out in a website, if it is laid out in an app. If that customer wanted you to develop for them a website, you'll be able to do a mock-up of how that website would look like. So it's actually a very powerful tool that, of course, is still in early development, but you will also be able to do that. Another thing that they talked about was on the video and images. And I just want you to see something. Some things you have to see to believe. uh, and this is how they started their presentation. This is how they started the Google I/O presentation. If you have not watched it, you should probably watch it. It's a 2-hour long presentation. You do get the point, that if you watch that presentation without them putting the disclaimer that this video has been generated by their new video generating AI solution called VO3, probably you wouldn't believe it. In fact, something that they also announced that maybe I'll talk about later is that they are now coming up with a solution where you'll be able to know AI generated content, video and image through a solution. I forget the name, but maybe we can share it in the description. But point is, that countdown was actually a countdown generated by a platform called VO3, and we shall put maybe the link to the description. It's also a paid subscription because of how how AI works. But if you look at how that video was done, it is very easy to assume that it was done by a human. Now the difference is they did different prompts. Maybe they say give me a countdown starting with 10 that will involve maybe maybe they say it will have, they give the creative element with to the app, but then maybe they can say countdown for 3, countdown for 2, and then what they do, they take that video, because you can download that video and then you put it in an editing software. So again, it doesn't mean that when you do this, of course right now, maybe in future you'll be able to do all of that in that platform, and they actually showed that you can actually cut that video and edit it, but to very limited capabilities. But the main thing is, if you have that subscription, you don't have to do a full video like that. What they did there was they did different countdowns and then they merged them to create now an actual opening sequence. And then even what they were showcasing in the second video with that country lady is, if you've been keen, if you're a marketer like we do, and we try to generate video content, the biggest obstacle for generating video content was that the videos, first of all, they didn't flow smoothly, and then second of all, which is the most important, is they didn't have dialogue and background music. Now, that video that you've seen has both background, has even animation, has sounds, and it has, most importantly, dialogue. And they did another presentation for dialogue. Now, why is it important for dialogue? It's because this solution is not only meant for content creators like us, but they're also working with filmmakers to be able to deploy this solution to those entities, so that if maybe you're doing a film, and maybe you are doing a science documentary and you need to show how maybe the organs work. Currently you can't do that because it will mean maybe generating, creating animations and whatnot. But with AI, you will be able to actually almost create a realistic impression of how the human body is when you're explaining how something works. If you need to show a very serious scene that maybe would be too harmful, like somebody falling off a building or somebody being mauled by a big creature, it will be almost impossible because of safety concerns to have a real maybe a lion or a leopard or whatever mauling that person. But with AI, you can actually have it, and have it even as gory as you need it to be, because it can tear that person into many pieces. A lot of things can be done. So that was actually another development that they did. And of course, for the images, they use a platform called Imagen 4, and all these things are part of the Google Pro suite. And what we have not shown in the presentation is they are also working on a project called Lyra, or Lyra 2. And what this project will be is, for us who are content creators, I think you struggle getting copyright strikes whenever you put background music, or whenever you come up with you want your videos to be vibrant, but you're very limited on options. And if you're keen, like I am, almost all the content I watch, local content, is like they almost all of them use the same theme sound, because it is the one that is the one that's easily available and won't cost them much. Now with Lyra, you'll be applying for subscription, and then you can create any type of background music or any type of music that you want. Maybe you want a content that sounds like a serious, you're doing a podcast right now, and maybe there's a place that we're talking about something serious, and you need the effects to get the audience to feel that this is a serious moment. Those effects you have, maybe you need an opening sequence. Ideally, we'd have to pay an artist to do that. With Lyra, you can have an opening sequence. Now you merge Lyra with Imagen and with VO3, and you have an animated, or an even a very beautiful opening sequence without having to engage somebody externally, or you work with a designer. Like we've said, these are not supposed to replace the jobs, but a designer who is AI native, who can use these tools to help you. You give the vision, like we want it to show me and Vicky, doing one or two things. We want it to show a vibrant space. We want it to be fun. Now this guy puts in the prompts, edits the prompts, adds the Lyra tune, and then we have an opening sequence. We can even have a podcast that is generated by this solution. So there are several different things that were announced in this session. And one more thing or two more things. Search. Vicky, I don't know if you remember what they talked about on search, and whether you have anything that you want to share.
Yeah, I think what I love about the search is that you can be able to search for, especially if you have to buy a product, maybe dresses, shoes. You can search for an item online, and then you can be able to, if the item has a dummy, that is, it has a dummy image that has the dress or the shoes in place, then you can be able to pick your image or your photo from your gallery, and you replace the image to try to see how that shoes will look on you, either with the dress that you have or with an outfit that is on the online space. I think that to me was interesting, where you can be able to test your mix and match before you buy the dress, or how it looks on your body. Because now if you take your image and put it online, you already see how your image will be with the dress or the shoes that you have. So that one was an interesting one.
Yeah, that's true. And also on the search, they call it the try on feature. On the search, they also introduced what we have always wondered why it's not there, but now they are going to be more aggressive about it. The AI mode. They are going to introduce AI mode into search, and
Yeah,
what they are doing is that they are saying that the users are demanding to receive, especially for results that don't require them to currently use, maybe shopping and whatnot. It's just
yeah,
I'm asking a question on Google. I'm tired of having to read
yeah.
blogs and whatnot to get this answer. So they're introducing an AI mode, which will currently be available in US, but of course will be shipped
Mm.
into the future. But this is where again, when I was even preparing for this session, I was like, Google is something else. When Google did their gaff, when they started showing um, initial founding fathers as black, they got a lot of backlash because they were reinventing history, or they were rewriting history because of that wokeness. You have to be what's it called, diversity and DEI things. But then they went back on the drawing board, and they have come back swinging, because in the AI search, what they're introducing is that as as you will be searching on AI mode, they'll also be introducing what we call personal context, so that even the results that will be based on what Google knows about you. Like, right now when you go to OpenAI has very little information about me. It only has my email and the prompts I give it. But Google knows my most valuable events because of the calendar. Google knows how I communicate my professional tone. Google knows my images through the photos. Google knows a lot of things about me. And when I'm searching for something, it can have that personal context to give me results that are very specific to me. It's like how you go and start watching YouTube videos. When you watch a specific type of content for a long time, Google usually recommends such content. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time they are spot on. In fact, I dare say, as a person who consumes a lot of content on YouTube, I find their recommendations usually better, even for the songs, than I find it on my Spotify subscription. I struggle almost all the time. I struggle with my Spotify, and I have to switch. But I digress. The point is, why I say this is very revolutionary is when I search on ChatGPT or on Cloud or on Perplexity, they usually give me text, and at best they'll give me a table. Now with Google, they are going to introduce visualizations and even data analysis, so that when I'm searching for something about, maybe I want to understand the economic growth of Kenya, ChatGPT would give me rarely, unless I specifically ask for a graph. ChatGPT will give me text and I have to read through. Google will give me search results that are of course
No.
the content I want, but also give me graphics and analysis of whatever I am asking. Which is again, like we said, most users are very lazy. They would find that content very useful as opposed to reading text. And it is something that maybe OpenAI will introduce in future, but it's something that I found very groundbreaking,
Yeah.
especially because they are able to help you understand complex things using visuals. And they're also going to introduce data analysis so that you can even dig deeper into the data, and get more out of your search results. So that AI mode for me was actually
Yeah.
very useful. There was something else that Google introduced that I don't know if most people caught. Of course, there is the enhancement of Gemini. They're doing Gemini 2.5, which will have more interactions. Um, that what you talked about, Gemini Live, where you'll be talking again. When you talk about mad people, you'll be talking with your money with your phone and asking it, "What is this? Why should I do this?" So Gemini Live will be taking video, it will be taking photos, and you shall be interacting with it, where you can ask, give me the historical context. Maybe you're a tourist again. Tourist tourist folks are going to have a lot of challenges. You go to Italy and you see a very famous painting. Instead of a guide telling you that in Italian that you don't understand, you can ask Google through Gemini Live to give you the historical context. Who painted this? Why was it painted? What were they going through? Like, it can give you even more context than a researcher who is in that space. You can even ask it to maybe give you directions, and it'll integrate it with Google Maps and give you a very nice solution. Project Astra, and I like that they call different projects different names. There's Project
Different
Astra, there's
names.
Marina. Different teams are working on different things. And
Yeah.
one more thing that I think is also important was that in their, like I've told you, they have different projects and they call them. There's this thing they call Project Marina. Project Marina is Google's version of AI agents. Now what they're saying is, remember I told you earlier that Microsoft want to be the AI factory of the world. But Google wants to make AIs that will allow you to work it, like they want to make the AIs almost seamless, and you'll almost not feel like you're working with an AI agent, because it will be like you're interacting with a computer. And the difference remember with Microsoft, they are saying that an AI agent you will be able to have 10 AI agents working towards one goal, like a team, right? Now, Google are saying you can have one AI agent that will work on 10 tasks. So again, resource optimization and whatnot, and that to me is also something that is very, very interesting. And also, what they announced and they didn't dig deeper is they are going to introduce agentic capabilities on Chrome, Search, and the Gemini app. And all these will have what also, Copilot. Copilot had the Copilot tuning. Google will have the Google personalized context, which will be that they'll be able to learn across all your Google solutions to be able to give you personalized results. And I don't know if most of us know that Google has a lot of solutions or a lot of tools. And some of them, we have the Google Drive, we have the Gmail, Gemini, we have the app, we have Chrome, Photos, Search, Google Meets. So imagine if Google were to be, of course, you'll have to give it permissions. And if it can learn all these things and give you results or help you find results, answers to questions that are bothering, I think that will be the best. Somebody might be wondering, all these goodies, but what is the cost? Now, Google launched two types of pricing tiers. Now, if you are if you want the Gemini Pro or the Google AI Pro, you'll subscribe to it for 19.99, which is like $20. And then they are also introducing another high-end tier. I told you, even in subscriptions, they'll still be tiering. They are going to introduce Google AI Ultra, which will give you everything that has been mentioned there, that we have mentioned earlier, um, at a cost of $249 per month. Now, you would think this $249 is a lot of money, but remember, the audience being targeted here is developers, CEOs, and even just normal Americans who have a specialization. Maybe you're a marketer, you're an analyst, and whatnot. $249, if you're earning $60,000 and above a year, is not a huge sum. And
Yeah.
remember, like what Vicky has said, Google this AI solution will almost replace all the other apps you're currently subscribing to. So what they're giving you is they're bundling all their solutions, the video solution, they're giving you the image generating solution, they're giving you Meets, Google Meets that is enhanced, Gemini. They're giving you, in fact, another thing they're adding here is you'll also have YouTube Premium. So you'll also be able to, and you'll also be getting the fast, you know how OpenAI releases solutions and the people who are on subscription mode get to test it faster than the rest. So for Google AI Ultra, you'll also be able to test. You'll experience everything we've mentioned here and then some in the Google Ultra solution. But yeah, that's it.